Hi, my name is Anouk and I'm a customer success engineer at Deeploy. Today I will show you how to deploy your first model and explainer to Deeploy. We will use Deeploy's SaaS solution today, Deeploy Cloud, which can be reached from our website. So we go to deploy.ml and press login. We can sign up here or log in if we already have an account. And once we are logged in, we open the team overview. This is the highest level overview in Deploy, which contains all the models across all workspaces. But as you can see, we don't have any deployments yet, so let's add our first. We go to a workspace and press create. As you can see, we have three types of deployments. A registration means that you register a model and all its documentation, but it's not running on Deploy. An external deployment means that the model is running elsewhere, but there's an API connection which makes sure that everything is logged and can be monitored and controlled within Deploy. And a managed deployment, which means that the model is actually hosted on Deploy, and this gives you full control and monitoring capabilities. Today we will press the manage deployment and we can link a repository now from which the model will be picked up and deployed. Before we link a repository, we have to make sure that it adheres to the deploy contract requirements. That means that the model and explainer have to be saved in a specific format and in a specific structure. So the model should be saved in a folder called model and the explainer should be saved in a folder called explainer. Within the folder, you can either save the model object directly or use the reference system to refer to a location where the model is stored. In this case, it's stored in blob storage. Next to the model and explainer, you can also add additional information in the repository. For example, a model card and a data card and a metadata.json file. This repository is prepared, so we can copy the path, go back to Deeploy and paste it here. We can select the correct branch and commit we want to deploy from and give it a name and a description. Give it a risk classification based on the levels of the EU AI Act and link it to a specific use case. In case you have a use case where multiple models fall under, this can be used to group them together. In the next step, we can configure the model image. This is a scikit-learn model, so we can use the deploy scikit-learn image here. And we have some options, so we can select if it should be serverless or not. We can customize the model resources. We can add credentials in case the model is stored in the private object storage. And we can add environment variables. Next, we can do the same for the explainer. In this case, I have a trained SHEP kernel explainer. And we can add a transformer in case we have one. A transformer can be used, for example, to add pre and post processing logic to a separate container from the model container. And we can manage the compliance insights. So we can add which templates should be filled in by your team. So we will add one. Here we can see a summary of everything that we have configured. So we check if everything is correct. And optionally, you can request approval from a colleague. And that means that first it has to be approved before you can deploy. But in this case, we will simply deploy. Now a lot is happening in the background. So the deployment is registered to the deploy database, the repository is cloned, the model and explainer are read, and also the additional information, so the metadata, the model card artifact, and the data card artifact. And lastly, the model and explainer are deployed. Alright, all the steps have been completed. And next we want to test the model. So we go to the test page, use the example input. We also want to explain it and make a prediction. Okay, the model predicts that it should be true. And you can also see a shape waterfall plot here. Lastly, we can go to the details page, which contains all the important details on the model, such as who's the owner, what is the risk classification. You can find the base API here that can be used to set up a safe connection between your deployment and your other applications. We can find the model cards and the data cards that are read from the repository. And in case we have, for example, retrained our model, we can change the commit here and update to update your deployment. Today I showed you how to deploy your first model explainer, so I would like to thank you for your attention.